Welcome to another episode of my show. I am Stacy Marie. Before I begin, I want to update you on some things. My app is almost ready. If you're interested in being a guest on my show, go to my website at stacymarie.tv. My guest today is Matthew Kenslow, who's an influencer, teacher, and an author. With over 1 million followers on social media, he is encouraging others to live their life in purpose and educating the world about autism. His new book, Unstoppable: How One Person with Autism is Never Giving Up on His Lifelong Dream to Become a Teacher and a Worldwide Influencer. Let's welcome Matthew Kenslow. Matthew, thank you so much for being with me today. I just love following you, and I'm just amazed at things that you are doing. You're accomplishing your dreams. How do you keep your mindset positive during your journey to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish?
I just keep telling myself that I have a purpose and I have a calling to help other people and paying it forward and knowing that other people would benefit.
That's fantastic because a lot of people don't know their purpose and they don't have the confidence to reach their purpose. And we need influencers like you to help them with, because your story will inspire them to go find their purpose in life.
Yeah, and that's my hope and prayer is that it would motivate other people.
And how do you, as a teacher, because a lot of autistic children and adults are shy. So, how do you overcome the shyness as a substitute teacher?
As I went through credential school and did my student teaching and subbing, I built the confidence and I got more and more confident, thereby being less and less shy.
Oh, wow. And do a lot of your students know that you are autistic?
Yeah, a lot of them, either I tell them or they heard about it or they figured it out. And there have been students who have asked me, had a conversation with me about it.
Oh, that's wonderful. When you know, I guess I want to bring this up because I had this in my own life because I have had learning disabilities, grew up with it. Bullying is very typical that autistic children or special needs children deal with, not only as a child, but as an adult. How do you see less of it now as an adult?
I I still see that as prevalent. Maybe not more or the same, perhaps less, but I know it's still around. I still hear about it. I witness it and I experience it sometimes.
Wow. So how do you handle it when a bully comes to you or they disrespect you or make fun of you? How do you handle that?
There have been times in the past several years, like out in my neighborhood, where people may have um, made some, I don't know, weird sound toward me or yelled at me or something. And I just am not choosing to allow it to make me give up. I'm going to continue my walk. I'm just going to continue with what I'm called to do in hopes that in the future, maybe they themselves would start to believe in themselves and believe they have a purpose and that their purpose isn't to bully other people. And that's to spread awareness. I'm going to continue to spread awareness. And in my heart, I forgive them. I'm not like letting them ruin my life or anything like that. But I think forgiveness is key for that. So,
Do you think a lot of those grown-ups, I would say, let's just say grown-ups at this point, because we are grown-ups, do you think a lot of it is they're insecure themselves and they see what you're doing, even though you have disabilities, they see that you're accomplishing your dreams and they just feel like, wow, I can't even accomplish mine and I don't have the disability as this person.
well, I have been told like as a reason why people might bully me or tease me, they people said, well, they might just be jealous or something. I have also heard the cliche like hurt people, and that if they were bullied themselves or didn't have a good family life when they were a child, then maybe that's why they're taking it out on other people, and that's kind of what's sad about it.
It is sad, and I've heard the same thing. Do you think that there's not enough education around there for any, across the nation and around the world, that maybe there needs more education on about autism, that maybe a lot of people don't know about it?
Perhaps, yes. I think a reason is it's just there's may not be a lot of awareness, and even if there is awareness, maybe not everyone accepts what they're made aware of. And I know that in recent years there has been a lot of education or awareness being brought out to all the students, and I just praise that. I'd like that to continue and get bigger and bigger. That's what I'm doing with my assemblies and speaking engagements too that I do.
Well, and I wanted to ask you, tell us about what you're doing at the assemblies.
These are volunteer assemblies that I'm doing across Orange County. In fact, I was just at Knott Learning Center in Buena Park, California for the preschoolers. So they had their spring carnival. And so I was speaking to them and juggling and everything. But I do longer assemblies for like the upper grades. So I'm actually going to one in Irvine Unified on Friday. And in these assemblies, I talk about my experience with autism, the pros and the cons, how I never allowed it to make me give up or anything like that. That I continued with what I believe I'm called to do. And if I could do these things, then certainly anyone can too. And so I bring in juggling. I use my juggling analogy, like if things drop in life, pick them back up, keep going. And I literally do that. And I have a science demo analogy about not bottling things up inside and a few magic tricks. And I tell the students it's not real magic, but I do cards to illustrate a point and then a big trick at the end. So I keep them engaged and I got a lot of positive feedback so far.
Oh, what did a lot of the kids say to you after
Uh,
seeing you perform?
Some come up to me, a lot of them ask, how do I do that? Like, how do I do the tricks? But
Yeah.
then others like come up and introduce themselves. So, for example, I was at Woodland Elementary, Newport Mesa Unified in Costa Mesa on Monday, and a student introduced herself. Probably first grade, kindergarten, first grade, and she told me I have autism too and ADHD, and was really getting a message from my message, and she seemed positive too.
Well, that's wonderful. Do you feel, Matthew, that the autism spectrum has changed a little bit on the characteristics of whether it's Asperger's or the low functioning, high functioning? Do you notice any changes since, in the last few years?
About
The
like diff
diagnosis?
what I have noticed is like now it's like 1 in 36 is the prevalence of autism in 8-year-olds. So I've
Oh,
been noticing I guess an increase, and I've also been hearing on the side, is the prevalence of autism increasing that dramatically, or is it that more people are getting diagnosed and such? I've heard of a lot of people who were late diagnosed, like people who grew up with autism unbeknownst to them.
oh, wow. That's interesting.
Yeah,
Now, are you still in college?
for another 2.5 weeks.
What? Okay, so does this mean you're getting your master's degree?
Yeah, on May 2nd, 2024, getting a master's in education, and I have no plans for a second master's or a doctorate right now, so that's would probably be it.
Oh, well, congratulations. So are you going to be continue teaching as a substitute teacher? Are you planning on going to maybe Newport Unified School District and working there full time?
My goals right now is applied to I believe it's CCCD, which is the Coast Community College District. So that includes OCC, where I went to for undergrad. And I
Mhm.
want to see if I could be an adjunct professor of mathematics over there for like part-time for the next few years to get experience. So on May 2nd, I plan to submit the application. That way I have the master's, which I put on the application, and then see what happens. I also talked to Vanguard University, where I went to as well, where I'm going for the master's right now. And they said that in the fall it's pretty much locked down, but in the spring 2025, they might have a class that I could teach. That could give me the experience, and then in the next few years, I plan to substitute, but also use that time to see how far I could get in Orange County and as far as my volunteer assemblies go. My goal is to get to most schools possible, public and private, and do these assemblies.
That's amazing. Do you ever go travel out of Southern California and go to Northern California or any other states?
Not yet. I kind of considered it, but not yet.
Did you always like math growing up?
Yeah, I've always loved math. It was science that was hard for me until high school, and
Really?
then I started to get it.
Wow. That's interesting. Yeah, I was never good in math. But my kids have done very well in math.
Yeah, I guess I find patterns in numbers, and I realized in the beginning I loved doing it, like graphing inequalities or
Mhm.
equations and such, and I didn't actually understand the application of what I was doing, but I loved doing it. But later on in life, I found out, oh, that's why I'm doing this.
Oh, interesting. So what is your plan for this summer?
This summer, I am not sure yet because subbing, they don't necessarily keep sublist in the summer, and they have opportunities, but for a different type of employee or set of employees. So I'm not sure, maybe volunteer, maybe VBS to do. I usually do that to juggle and such.
Oh, the vacation Bible schools at churches.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. So what is your 5-year goal at this point? Do you have one?
How I see myself within the next 5 years?
Yes.
Yeah, well, hopefully maybe within 3, 4, 5 years, I could get the full-time career, and my dream career is secondary mathematics education, so like at a middle school, and
Mhm.
be like a full-time teacher. That's like my long-term goal.
Really?
Yeah.
But see, this influencer that you got going, because you are an influencer on social media, is amazing. And I do want to tell my audience, you got to go check out Matthew because you walk around the streets of your neighborhood or wherever you're going at, and you just walk around, you love airplanes, which is interesting because you must live near John Wayne Airport.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, and so and then that's another thing I'm intending to do within the next 5 plus years is continue to go on social media and encourage as much as I can, go to news media, radio, newspapers, podcasts, television, and such, continue these interviews. But airplanes and fire engines, those were a special interest of mine. In fact, I liked airplanes a lot longer than fire engines, but well, since elementary school. And so I just wanted to share, and I found a community. They call them plane spotters. And a lot of people go to airports or just post pictures or videos of planes. So it's a camaraderie.
Back when I was growing up, you would find people, they would actually go to John Wayne Airport just to watch the planes take off and come back because they love the sound of them.
Yeah, and I used to be one of them too. Like my grandfather and I would find a spot and just watch the planes. There was one time I turned around and a security guard was walking toward us because we didn't know that wasn't like public parking.
Right.
So we moved, but yeah.
Well, it sounds to me after watching a lot of your videos that your grandpa is a big influence in your life besides your mother.
Yes, both of them greatly. And they're very proud of my accomplishments. My when I earned my first degree, which was an associate's degree in chemistry. My grandfather
Mhm.
was probably the proudest because he told me I'm the first in my line to get a degree.
Really? In your family?
Yeah, or at least the line in my family, so like
Right.
grandpa, mother, and me.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic. Well, how can people contact you? Because my connections in Orange County, Los Angeles, and the Inland Empire in San Diego. How can people contact you to hire you as a juggler?
They could always like reach out to me on social media. I'm in various social medias like YouTube, TikTok, X now, not Twitter, but X
Right, right.
and Instagram. So they could, I'm sure they could message me, message or email, like direct message.
And how many weeks do you need them to book with you?
Well, my calendar's actually starting to get booked and such, but I guess just by communications, like if they reach out to me of like potential dates and such, then I could tell them my availability.
Oh, wonderful. Matthew, thank you for coming on today. I remind everybody to buy your book, Unstoppable. Oh my gosh. I love the title of your book because it really is you and what you're accomplishing in your life that you set out.
Yeah, that's kind of what I called myself, like that, and like nothing, not even the diagnosis or its limitations is going to fully stop me. I just learned to go through things and not around things. I acknowledge some things may take a bit longer for me, some limitations, but I just persevere, never give up, and I believe I shall succeed.
You know what, Matthew? You're not alone because there's so many people, even in my own life, that I had goals and I knew that it wasn't going to happen overnight or a week or 3 months, 6 months, 5 years, but I was like, I'm going to make this happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to come to terms with that because when I was younger, especially, it's like I wanted to accomplish something like that day or but overnight, but I just had to um accept that some things just will take longer.
It does. It does. Oh, Matthew, thank you so much for being on. And I'm going to have you back again real soon.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, thank you so much. That was Matthew Kenslow and get his book Unstoppable. Um,
Stay encouraged, stay strong, especially if you have autism. You do have a purpose and a calling. The purpose of my book and my YouTube channel and elsewhere on social media is to encourage people, especially if they have a disability, as well as to educate the ignorant, neurotypical people who do not give us a chance and who hate us for who we are and think that we should go on some exoplanet. We have the right to live in the same planet that they do, and in the meantime, I'm just doing my part in educating the world, encouraging people to just not give up. And even the neurotypicals themselves, they have a purpose as well, but it's not to bully others at their expense. And it doesn't take a lot of time to be nice. I made that video a couple weeks ago. And just a little disclaimer real quick, not every single neurotypical is that mean.